because he can really just lock in. And this guy comes up and says, hey, is that the, he's looking at like a tour bus, right? He says, is that the city bus there? And Todd goes, I don't think so. He says, well, is that like some kind of other kind of bus? He says, might be. He said, well, whose bus is that? He says, well, his first name starts with a W and his last name starts with an N. That's helpful. And you mean like I said, Willie Nelson? He says, and then the guy's walking away and he goes, and Todd goes, you are such a stupid asshole. Way to go, Todd. Yeah, that was a good one. But we did. It was across from this little barbershop called The Buzz, where you could drink a beer and get your hair cut at the same time. I mean, I didn't try it, right? But they had like a vacuum cleaner on the shaver thing, and it would suck all the hair into the shaver, and I thought, it's a great title anyway. It's not as good as my hat box, I think. Okay, here we go. All right, we have to play the song that I was planning on playing.
Play whatever you want.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. Podcast Americana Podcast 54th Day. Check it out. One of the better episodes actually is the one that I do with Todd because he just made me laugh the whole time, so I didn't ask a lot of stupid questions. Anyway, one time we played at Tipitina's in New Orleans. Anybody? It's kind of funky. It's like a bunch of 8th graders got together with some stolen wood and made a club out of it, you know? So we were there, and it was sold out, and so I went to get Todd and said, you ready, Todd? And he goes, none of these people are here for me. I said, yes, they are. I mean, a whole bunch of them in the front are all there for you. He goes, no, they're not. I said, oh, come on, Todd, please. He goes, okay. So he gets up there, and he plays this old blues song called They Call Me the Breeze, because I keep rolling down the road. And then he takes off his guitar, and he puts it in his chair, and he says, for my next number, I need a volunteer from the audience. And he walks off the stage, he goes down the ramp, out the doors, gets in his van, and drove back to Nashville. It was really fantastic. It's like, and then everybody came to me and goes, what happened, Todd? I said, hell, I don't know. But I got him back. The next time I saw him in St. Louis, I wrote all like leaving songs. So leaving on a jet plane and whatever. I just had a whole set list of just leaving. And he got out there. I stole his set list. I put that one out there. He got out there and just started laughing the whole time. But anyway, this is called Play Trains. The rest of the year, if you'll check our website out, we have a lot of dates coming up in about the next 10 days. You'll see them there, and also you'll learn how to get tickets to our last 2 shows at Florence Country Store right there in Helotes, Texas. And it holds about 4,200 people a night, so we should have enough room there. It's a big old beer garden. You can probably look it up online. It's a big old beer. It's been around 80 years, ladies and gentlemen, Florence Country Store. So if you just make the trip down there, it's worth it. I promise you. I don't know if you love them as much as I do, but I love railroad tracks. They always make you feel like you can go forever and, never have to worry about anything because you're always going to go on the same line. It just makes you feel good. We can talk about that later at the philosophical discussion that I'm going to have to post this show. Anyway, we were walking along the railroad tracks and we were talking about the good old days when we used to ride the rails with Woody Guthrie back in the Great Depression. Yeah, it was the early part of the 20th century and back in the Great Depression, and we used to ride the rails with Woody, and we used to, fight for the unions and, hope around the country, ride the trains, did all kinds of great stuff for humanity. And we never wrote a song with Woody. All that time we hung around, he wrote 13,000 songs, and none of them say went back keen on them. You know, they're just like, what happened to us? So we were lamenting that fact, and then we found the bag of weed that we lost the night before. And 2 years later, we wrote this song. The other two cowboys voted on that when I was gone one weekend, and I didn't get a voice in that deal as a gyp. But the other thing was cool about it, it's like no male over the age of 15 years old has any visible means of support, so that sort of worked for me. And then also, it's the only place that I saw adults have a rock fight. And I mean rocks, you know, like really like metamorphic and, you know, igneous rocks thrown at each other, and blood was spurting out of people's heads and things like that. And I was at the rodeo grounds, and they would take them to jail, but they didn't have a jail in Bandera, Texas. So what they did is they handcuffed people around trees, like there'd be a big tree, and they'd handcuff them around a tree. So like you could go to the rodeo and see the bull riding and the bareback riding, and you could also see this living human thing around trees, you know, and stuff. Like it was kind of like one of those museums that they'd let them sit there and rot. They would be gone ahead and be one of those museums where they had skeletons and stuff like that going on. But they didn't do that. They weren't that cruel. And I really, you know, to come back into Bandera, I always felt like I had to decompress. So I'd go to my favorite place, the Arky Blues Silver Dollar Saloon, which is, I know in Oklahoma, because of like tornadoes and stuff, they have a lot of downstairs stuff. Well, they don't have any downstairs stuff in Texas at all, because you're going to step into some kind of oil well or something. I don't know what the hell the deal is, but they don't have any but Arky Blues is a downstairs bar, so you have to walk downstairs in like in a basement. You get there, and it's all painted red, because that's Arky's favorite color. And I'm talking about that expensive glossy red that has that shine and looks about that thick. You know, and it's only broken up by these velvet paintings of Elvis and Dolly Parton. So you go down there, and there's these red walls, these beautiful black velvet paintings, and you kind of feel like you're in heaven and hell at the same time. So that's where this song comes from. Lucky to get it when we got it, and we're so happy to be invited back numerous times and you know, honor something that's been here for 80 years, ladies and gentlemen. 80 years. I also want to thank Kevin and his band for coming out and being the special guest this evening. We'll be at College Station tomorrow at the brand new Aggie Park, right next to the Association of Former Students building here. So they told me it's a 10,000 seat, I was going to say Aquarita, but it's not, right? We're lucky tonight that we're not having an Aquarita, I would say that. But amphitheater, it's a 10,000, and this is the first time that they've opened it up, so it's a free show. So if you want to go there, you don't have to be an Aggie. It wouldn't hurt you if you would, you know, give them a thumbs up every once in a while. But that's where we'll be, and then we'll be back here on Saturday. Our special guests there are James McMurtry and Eric Church, and both of those guys were just immediately happy to be part of it. They just, whatever you want, Mr. King. Well, actually, James didn't say
Fisher Price PA system that a 4-year-old could use, and you had to actually use a cup and a string to get all the words out properly. You know, it was not exactly anything less but incredibly humiliating. but I did a lot of it. And I talked him into it, and he said, "I don't know how you do this." I said, "Because I like to sell records, Barry." I also conned Guy Clark and Townes Van Zandt into going into a record store and doing a record in store. And they played about 2 chords, and they said, "The hell with this crap," and they walked out. So I paid them back by playing all their songs the rest of the time. Here we go. It's called We're Going to Town. Just like forget about that all I started thinking about, well, I got a little time here, this would work out. And then I realized it was like the 1st of December, and you know, I lived in Nashville for a while, and I know one thing about Nashville, they just shut down September, man. I mean, they had like Amazon back then, they had actually just boarded up all the houses and just sent all their crap to, you know, California or something. And so I was like really stuck thinking, damn, I'm never gonna finish this record because like there won't be anybody to record this stuff. And so I was kind of frustrated about the whole deal. So I started thinking about, man, Christmas, it just gets in the way. You get everything ready and then all of a sudden you can't do anything and everybody's talking about getting presents and all that business. And I thought, well, you know, I came from Houston and I didn't think that there was a Christmas song that represented Houston. I mean, I didn't know, I finally saw a chestnut in the HEB like 2 years ago, right? You know, and sleigh bells, I mean, you might as well have been saying that was some kind of thing like Iraq for some kind of 15th century torture treatment, you know, sleigh bells, you keep banging the bells until you're slain, you know, or whatever. I didn't know what the hell it was all about. So I never did connect with any Christmas song that I ever heard. And so I thought, well, hell, I need my own Christmas song. So I sat and wrote this song, and let me say, I laughed my ass off every other line. I just thought I was the most clever person on the planet. But after I finished, I thought, well, nobody's gonna listen to this. This is stupid. So I played the whole record for the producer like a couple of days later, and he said, well, you got anything else? And producers love to say that. You could literally write, you could write Hotel California, and they would say, you got anything else? So I had some pretty good songs. He goes, well, we got anything else? I said, yeah, I got this weird little song about Christmas. He said, well, play that for me. I said, okay. And he's like laughing his ass off, man. And he said, that's the song. I said, well, I don't want to be the Christmas guy. I just wanted to write a song for me. He says, oh, that song's great. And I said, really? He goes, oh, that's great. Because I never had a really good touch with how great songs were when I wrote them. I never knew. Even when I wrote The Road Goes On Forever, I had the two people I was playing that for, just like their jaws dropped, and I said, "What's so great about this song?" You know? So I really never had a real good scope on that kind of stuff. And anyway, I knew though by this guy's reaction, because he was a pretty stoic guy, I knew that it had to have something going on for it. So I kind of shaped it up, made it better. But the first time I really realized that it worked and it was really good was I came here to Forest Country Store, and it was in the winter time. And we weren't doing any of those Christmas shows or anything. It was just like, December 12th or 13th. And I got up there, and it was so cold, you had to be in the inside. So we're all in the inside. There's 500 or 600 people on the inside. It's all crowded and smoky. And it was a non-smoking deal, but it was still smoky. So what was going on with that? Anyway, so I played it, and these people laughed their ass off. I thought, well, hell, this is good. And I thought, okay, I'll keep playing this. So we played it. And to the point where I got the distinct feeling that I would be hired in December just so people could hear that song. So I'd be playing it like y'all. Some of y'all might experience this. I'd be playing to regular audience, and they'd be talking, shooting the shit and all this stuff, and nothing would happen. They didn't care. And all of a sudden I'd start playing that Christmas song, and everybody's like, and screaming. This is just a different kind of song, man.